Good morning and welcome to Law Talk with Ethel. Good morning and welcome to Law Talk with Ethel Mitchell. Now for today's show, here's attorney Ethel Mitchell.
Attorney Ethel Mitchell, I am your host, and I welcome you to Law Talk. We have an exciting program for you today. I asked Attorney Ashby Sterling to return. So we're going to talk about how do you make a business big? How do you go from an idea to your first 1,000 customers? I firmly believe that we do better when we know better. So if you want to be a business person, listen up, because Attorney Ashby is going to give us the secret even to me, as to how do you create what's called a scalable business. Today, I want you to remember, however, I want you to be a part of the conversation. I understand that the phone is working now, so please call us. My executive producer, Stacy Royster, is standing by. You can call us at 1-800-450-7876. That's 1-800-450-7876. You can also tweet us at LawTalkEM or send us a message on Facebook at Law Talk with Ethel Mitchell. Welcome to everyone who's listening live at lawtalkwithethelmitchell.com, WLDCnews.com, and on the TuneIn app. Welcome to the conversation. Entrepreneurship continues to bloom, and so many people are getting in on the boom. It's actually International Women's Day, so we want to give a special shout out to women entrepreneurs. Essence has an article that we have linked to that talks about women business owners. But what we're talking about today is for men and women, anyone that wants to have a business and see that business grow. As we reported last week, Attorney Sterling Ashby is both a lawyer and an entrepreneur. He created historically accurate Black Action Toys. His website is HIA Toys.com. And I want everybody to go to that website and buy his toys, because they're beautiful and they're educational and they're wonderful. He not only went from an idea and sold thousands of his toys, we want him to sell more. And today we want him to tell us how he did it. But first, I have to always remind you that what you hear on the show is for information purposes only. No attorney-client relationship is established by anything that's said on this show. Each person's circumstances are different, so you must seek individual counsel for any situation for which you need legal advice. Attorney Ashby is an engineer and a lawyer, a graduate of Columbia Law School, my old law school.
All right.
Has a degree in industrial engineering from Lehigh University and a master's in science and technology from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. You know, last week I heard one of the sharks on Shark Tank talk about a contestant, and they said this is a great business, but it's not scalable.
Yeah, he's a creative guy, you're a great guy, high energy guy, but this is not a scalable business.
What is a scalable business? What does that mean? Tell us, please.
I mean, a technical definition might be the potential to multiply revenue with minimal incremental cost. All right?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So,
break that down.
all
Break
right.
that down for us.
So the easiest example is in the IT world, right? You come up with a platform, a product, Facebook, Twitter. Once they design that with their code and things like that, whether or not 100 people are using it or 1,000 people are using it, there's minimal extra cost per each additional user.
Aha.
And
okay.
So if they create a revenue stream with it, like Facebook, the advertising, right? There's more money coming in, but they didn't put less. They put minimal effort going out. The big effort was at the beginning in designing the product.
Okay. So I remember, I don't know if many of you remember Gaston, A.G. Gaston, out of Alabama.
Alabama.
Yes, he was one of the first black millionaires
yeah.
in the country. He was amazing, and people would ask him, "How did you make money?" And he would say, "Find a need and fill it."
That's right.
Okay. Do you have a similar kind of orientation?
Yes. So, on the road to a scalable business, right? You start off and you're in startup mode, and some have suggested don't think of a startup as a small company. Think of it as an entrepreneurial effort, as an experiment looking for a scalable business, right?
Okay.
And so, what's the first thing you're looking for? The A.G. Gaston issue. Do I have a problem to solve? So the problem solution fit. Is there something out there, a problem that I stand out that I can solve? All right.
Okay, and people will pay you for it.
And people will pay you for it.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay.
Oh, now we're rolling. Wow. 2 or 3 people said, boy, they're interested in what I did. Can I do that again? All right. But the next thing is this a product with really a real market to it? Is it a problem worth solving? Right? All right, I can't survive off 3 or 4 people that are interested in this great pie I make.
Mm-hmm.
But if there was 1,500 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, boy, I could really be onto something.
Okay.
And so that next stage in your entrepreneurial effort is to figure out is this a problem worth solving?
Okay.
Now, if you can get over the first 2 hurdles, the next hurdle is scalability.
I see.
However, back to the A.G. Gaston, if you did not approach the first 2 hurdles correctly, you undermine your chances of getting to scalability. All right?
Okay, so it's really important. I remember last week you made a point. You said when you have an idea, you need to discuss it with people and find out what other people think about it.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So once you find out that this is a viable idea, that people will pay you for it, that it's worth solving, in your terms, a problem that's worth solving.
Or can I interrupt right there?
Sure.
Right on that part right there about is this a problem worth solving? Now you're stealing your idea or slip and fall, jeopardizing your house and home.
Yes, and we're going to talk about that, by the way, next week. We have a lawyer coming on to talk about creating corporations and limited liability entities and to protect yourself. Yes.
Another angle to that, the early stages, the contracts you put in place with your employees, your suppliers. You must do that in a way that once you start growing, now so-and-so says, well, I'm going to increase my cost for providing you internet service. Because you never entered a contract. You thought you got something for free there. You never entered into an arrangement. You never entered into a lease that allows you to operate in your space for a long enough time to grow.
I see.
That's contractual. So there's other elements where the law comes into play. And finally, there's a strategy you might lock into early on in the problem solution fit phase that you refine over time. Now, that initial strategy, your business model, is something you might refine as you move into looking to assure that this is a market that is bountiful enough that will support you putting more time and energy into it. So
it sounds like you really teach this stuff. I mean, you not only know it, do you offer a course in this and how people can do this that people can sign up for? So
the toy business for me, I'm still trying to figure out how to scale it and get to that third level and really get 500,000 people to buy my toys and have 50 different figures. But in the meantime, I do practice law, and part of that is individual client service, as well as from time to time I will teach a class. And one of the classes I offer from time to time is going from idea to your first 1,000 customers, because I want to help people flush out their idea and move in a manner that doesn't undermine the potential for scalability, the potential to take off.
Okay. So do you have a class like that coming up? If our listeners are interested.
In April, if I can fill the seats here, sterling.ashby at gmail.com. Please email me. I would love for you or some of your listeners to participate in my class in April. And still to determine the full, the exact dates, but there will be a class in April where we will go through this in greater detail. Okay.
So listeners, listen to that. If for any reason you didn't get the contact information, you can always call me at 202-772-1988. I'll be glad to pass on Sterling's information to you because it's very, very valuable. So let's go back to scalability.
That's right.
All right, let's go back to how do we get to 50,000, a million customers?
That's right.
And make the money to go with it. Yes.
All right. Let's not act like this is overnight, but the core is getting a clear. First off, getting proof of concept. So during the initial period when you are, a few customers and you're looking at problem solving, you found a problem that you're meeting a need for. This is the period where one of the things you're doing is you're proving the concept. You're laying the foundation. You're building stories that you can do this on time in an efficient manner, and your customers are happy, and you're collecting stories. Proof of concept.
Okay,
right?
so and that's true whether you're making a cupcake, whether you
That's
are
right.
cleaning floors, whether you are an engineer,
That's
creating
right.
buildings.
Watches.
Yes,
Yeah.
making anything. Okay, all right, go on.
All right.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, again, you don't want to just stop with this piecemeal effort. You're doing something for your aunt, your neighbor. Can I build a business model? Now, when you talk about a business model, there's, I can't explore all of it here, but there's 10 to 12 essential elements that are common to most businesses.
Okay.
What's the revenue? What's the cost?
Mm-hmm.
What's my secret sauce?
Mm-hmm.
Who are going to be the early adapters?
Okay.
What does my customer look like? What's the profile of my customer? But we want to get a clear picture on your business model because you can't just spray your energy all over the place. Trust me, I've done it. Right?
Okay. All right.
You're searching for buyers and you're spraying energy. But
I've heard that there is such a thing as a lifestyle business, which is what 90% of businesses are.
Sure.
And then there is a scalable business.
Right.
What's the difference?
The key one for me is the lifestyle business is really contingent upon you being involved. You being right there providing service to the customer. I mean, even as a lawyer, right? It's a very personalized service.
That it is,
that I must be present. I can't really automate some of the kind of nuanced work and counseling we do with clients. However, if I build chairs, right? I'm in the studio, but I'm looking at a great chair. If I could find a way to design this thing, the service, the need that chair is meeting is not dependent upon me being there.
Okay.
But I mean, there could be, consulting and personalized service are hard to scale, but they kind of are. Some of the larger consulting companies, some of the larger law firms, but it's much harder effort. But think of products. Products allow you to step back. So
that's true. That's true.
The main thing I'm thinking is systems and structure, and it's not contingent upon you.
You're personally doing it.
Right.
Okay. Are there any particular resources, books, or things like that you can recommend to people who are interested in doing this?
Sure. We talked about a couple books last week, and I want to reiterate because I just think they're so important. The first one, Mr. Michael Gerber, he wrote the book called The E-Myth. And in this book, he says, in building out a business to meet the needs of a customer, there are 6 systems that you must address, right? It's like legs to a table. If you don't address any of these, your business is going to fall over.
Okay.
So it's a 6-legged table.
All right.
And it's finance, it's prospecting, it's the sales conversion, collecting the money, the systems to do that. It's the product development. But in it, it's a very simple, straightforward, plain speaking book. The first half is talking about some of his frustrations and failure at the early part over some businesses he'd been involved in. I mentioned to you, he says, business is hard. Telling an investor, telling a loved one, I've really fallen short. I've failed is a really hard
thing. I've lost your money you gave me. right. Okay. So the E-Myth is one good book.
The E-Myth.
Okay. Any other resources?
The other one is the Lean Startup. And the Lean Startup is written by Mr. Eric Ries, a young guy, 33-year-old out of Harvard. And he's talking about these kind of fast-moving businesses that accelerate pretty quickly. And he really wants you to focus in on your business model and your proof of concept and plan for your business to take off.
Okay. Stacy's with us. Do you have a question for us from one of our listeners?
Yes, actually, we have a Facebook follower, and
Okay.
actually a Twitter follower, I'm sorry, who says she has lots of great business ideas, but gets stuck on the scalability phase and gets bummed out, quite frankly.
Okay.
And
Okay.
wants to know if you have any suggestions.
Well, I would back up
Take
to,
his course first. Yes. But go on.
but even I'd back up to what I said earlier, is that scalability is not that first element, right? The first element, does your idea have merit? Is there some small group of early adopters that are interested in your solution that will pay you, and that you can practice in delivering the answer on time, under budget, in a manner that makes your customer happy? And then you figure out, can you take that same problem and do it with a larger spectrum of people? Now you're moving from not 10 customers, you're moving to 100 customers. And then you get to scalability. But as you move through those two hurdles, you're refining your business. You're getting more niche oriented. You're tailoring what you're doing. You're putting systems in place. So that's what I would try to say to her there. And I know a lot of us, we have a ton of ideas. We live in an age where ideas are there, but it's execution. It's putting one or two into action. And that first step of evaluating, which one of these ideas even has merit that I should invest time in? And, we go through a process in my class there and spending time with students of helping people settle in on one or two ideas that make sense. And I would challenge them to look early on at ideas that have the possibility of being scaled.
Another question that someone called in from last week, actually, and asked about, how do you get started from the business plan? So I know we're taking a step back from scalability, but any tips in terms of how to write a business plan? What do you do to actually get started on such a daunting task?
All right.
Yeah.
Now here's a big one, and this is a radical new idea over the last couple of years, and I take it from the Lean Startup. Not that the business plan is not important. That exercise of sitting down and writing a 35, 40-page document builds your understanding of what you're getting into. But Eric Ries, in the book The Lean Startup, will challenge you to focus on a simple business model, something that's much more nuanced, 1 or 2 pages, that you can tweak as you come up against an element of it, right?
Okay.
So really
What would be in that model?
Well, I was saying some of those things before. What is your competitive advantage? Who are your early adopters? Who are the early customers?
Okay.
Why are they coming to you? What are they? What's the makeup of these types of customers? What problems are you solving? Being really, really clear. Not I make cupcakes. No, I make an after-school snack that is healthy and nutritious and that is better than anything else. How is your solution better than others? But there's elements of this business model. You can pick up the Lean Startup. I go through this in my class a little more. But the main thing is, the radical idea is, boy, I wonder if you can get all of your key ideas for whatever your new business or idea is on 1 page, 2 page.
Yeah. That's a challenge.
And wrestle with the concepts. You still might build out the business plan. But the early stage, you got to move quick, because as I was working with an entrepreneur recently, they were focused on a service, say, to teach a class. But I wanted them to step back. We went through the exercise of doing the 5 whys. They said, the problem I'm solving is X. And I said, why? And then they gave that answer. And I said, why again? Now, it's a common practice, a technique to pull back and think if you're getting at the core issue. Sometimes we're jumping at what's top of mind and what we think is important. But Eric, the Lean Startup, and some others now are asking you to think a little deeper, and put a structure in place that makes sense, satisfies the customer, and is possible to take off.
Okay. Repeat those points again, because I think those are really important. I really do. Put a business in place.
Well,
find
a problem.
Find a need or problem. Right.
AG gas is number 1.
Okay. Find a need.
Are you solving a real need? Not
okay. And solve it. Right. Don't just find a need.
Now that's not a little thing, because I talk to a number of people, and sometimes we're too focused on us. The first issue, it seems like a little thing, but AG gas satisfies the customer, and it's possible to take off.
Okay. Repeat those points again, because I think those are really important. I really do. Put a business in place.
Well, find a problem.
Find a need or problem. Right.
AG gas is number one.
Okay, find a need.
Are you solving a real need? Not
okay. And solve it. Right. Don't just find a need.
Now that's not a little thing, because I talk to a number of people, and sometimes we're too focused on us. The first issue, it seems like a little thing, but A.G. Gasson is saying, focus on them. Focus on your customer, right? On their problem. And can you solve their problem better than practically 98% of anyone else? The second one, do a number of people have this problem? Is this a product? Is this a problem that is held by a market? Right? Okay. A number of people that you could invest significant time, energy, and resources and get a return on your investment. Okay. Because if it's only 4 or 5 people have this problem, you know what? It's not worth leveraging your house.
Okay. Right.
It might not be worth, you know.
Yeah, you don't want to sell lemonade in the wintertime. Right. Okay.
But if you could get over those 2 hurdles, now we get to scale. Now we get to, hey, I might need an investor because I really want to focus in on this one aspect of marketing, right? You know, or I want to, I believe if I get this next gadget or machine, I can, now serve 10,000 people. What's the key hurdle that now keeps me from solving this for more people? Okay. But you got to get through the first 2.
I see. So that's why on Shark Tank you see people come in and they have these ideas and they're saying we need to be able to make more product to sell, to mail out. We just don't have the money to pay for it. But we have the product and the idea and we know people will buy it.
Correct.
And that's sort of a scalable.
Right. Maybe they've had some proof of concept. Sometimes they show up and they're like, I've already sold 7,000 of these, and it could be a real nuanced thing, a fork with a fork spoon combination, But they came in and they said, I sold it to 7,000 people. I've done this. I bet you, and I've done that all within 60 miles of Philadelphia and surrounding suburbs.
Okay.
I bet with a little more marketing, I could sell this to the whole mid-Atlantic states.
Very good. Very good.
And back to Shark Tank. Once you read some of these folks, Gerber, Eric Ries, you'll see how the perspective of the Shark Tank people. They are really focusing on them, and mentally they can go through the elements of a business model that makes sense, of a scalable business model, just by asking questions. That's all they're doing.
I see. There's a guy I ran across when I was doing some research called Steve Blank.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with him?
He's Eric Ries's mentor.
Oh, all right.
Steve Blank is a professor at Stanford, and he's a big idea guy in the lean startup kind of movement. But so a lot of Eric Ries's ideas.
It's because, as always, the time goes by so fast. Yeah. What are the kinds of things you want people to really focus in on? Because there are a lot of people out there that that have good ideas. They may have already even started a business or want to start a business, but they need to get to that next step.
Yeah.
And they want to grow to their first 1,000 customers, and then up to 50,000, 100,000, a million.
Right. In that first step there of finding a problem, that initial stage, taking action, is huge. That separates you from, probably, as Woody Allen says, showing up is 80% of the. You beat out 80% of the people if you just show up.
Just show up.
All right. But to get even further, the next step is a simple strategy, and strategy is a kind of multi-layered couple angles of attack. The key elements of your business model. Think if there's 13 or 14 elements to your business model. You have clear ideas about how to approach these things, and they might change slightly, but having a strategy and be able to tweak it slightly. But you just can't, and I'll say this on the marketing side, it really can be challenging. You just can't keep throwing stuff up against the wall and try this one day, Facebook this, Twitter that, billboard next. You have to focus in and try something out, measure the results from that effort.
That's important, yes.
And then evaluate if it's worthwhile, proceed. If not, make a slight tweak in your direction, a pivot, is a big word they use, right? So you don't change your objective, you just change your tactics slightly.
I think that's very, very good advice. I've always been told that perseverance is probably the most important character trait to have, because you have to keep at it, but smartly.
Right.
Yeah.
Because perseverance, banging your head in an industry that's dying, or banging your head at a tactic that's just not working, is not going to get you a scalable business. Not going to let you sit next to Mr. Steve Jobs.
Right. So it's not a matter. You got to work smart, not just work hard.
There you go.
Yeah,
work
smart, not just work hard.
And your lawyer is your friend in this process, because your lawyer, is under his attorney-client privilege, provides a trusted confidant. And what we do as lawyers is, since we work with so many customers in similar spaces, we see common problems.
Yes.
And so we can help you avoid the common problem.
Right.
So instead of you sitting over there by yourself, taking 2 years, 3 years to bring something out, get some people on your team. And one of the people on your team is a good lawyer.
A good lawyer. It can really make a lot of difference. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this program. I think it's been excellent. I thank you so much. I want everyone to support Attorney Ashby, his toys, and also his programs, take his courses, buy the toys, and follow him. Give us your Twitter account, please.
My Twitter account is S Ashby. S Ashby.
ASHBY.
Yeah, and I can be reached by email at sterling.ashby@gmail.com.
Thank you very much. This is Attorney Ethel Mitchell from Law Talk with Ethel Mitchell. I do my wills and trust and estate planning, and so I invite people to get in touch with me for any information that you need about wills, trust, and estate planning. I can be reached at 202-772-1988. Our website is lawtalkwithethelmitchell.com. This program, as all of our programs, will be archived on the website, lawtalkwithethelmitchell.com, on the YouTube channel that's on that site. Join us next week when we will have Attorney Jean-Marie Sila. He's going to talk about what a corporation is, what limited liability companies are, and how to form them, and how important they are. Thank you very much, and have a good week, everyone.
You've been